This is a presentation I want to thank our senior leadership and cabinet for putting together. There's a great deal of effort and work put into this. So I will begin. It's my understanding it's a report that's annually provided to the board at this meeting. So it's been a very exciting time, as this is my first opening of schools for Fairfax County. So essentially, we have this past year, our four-year on-time graduation rate was 94.21%. You can see the data on the slide. There was a significant increase in the scholarship numbers that we've had this year, and the graduation rates continue to grow. Since 2019, our English learners and economically disadvantaged students saw gains of approximately 5 percentage points, while our Hispanic students have seen a gain of over 8 percentage points. Additionally, for the fourth year in a row, students with disabilities graduated at rates higher than the division average. We continue to keep equity at the center of all that we're doing and celebrate our successes, even as we embrace opportunities and challenges to improve. Our student voice continues to be at the center of our experience. I think as Student Representative Togby said this evening and shared her expectations for how the division may look in the next several years, as well as encouraging student colleagues around the division to join us for our community conversations. Student voice is going to be critical to our work moving forward and our strategic planning as we move forward. With a continued focus on equity, we're going to pay particular attention to our literacy work, our multi-tiered systems of support, and portrait of a graduate work. Our model, as we've introduced this AAA orientation, is to affirm, assess, and advance our students, and it continues to be the way Fairfax County Public Schools engages with our students and families. After our leadership kickoff, we recommitted ourselves to this orientation and the work we have ahead of us. Tonight, we actually had an opportunity to celebrate several of our family school partnerships, and it's very clear schools can't do it alone, that these partnerships are essential for our students' success. Recently, at our work session earlier this week, we discussed our family engagement survey and realized that this data, while it doesn't represent all families in Fairfax County, it does represent over 35,000 respondents in this data. And I think we've gone to great length in our work session to describe and discuss and review these data points. So as part of my entry plan into the division, we've scheduled 26 in-person community conversations. As I mentioned, we finished number 11 last evening at Edison High School, and these conversations have been really thoughtful and given both myself, I think, and those who were there a great deal to think about. As we opened schools this past August, we had a number of open houses, a number of welcome walks in neighborhoods. We also had essential information distributed through a multilingual family podcast program, which was pretty exciting in terms of getting essential news out to families in a different modality. This podcast program received an award of distinction from the Academy of Interactive and Visual Arts this past school year, which includes both national and international excellence in education. These podcasts are planned to continue throughout the school year and continue to provide important information to our families. Our Parent Resource Center continues to be an important piece of our strategy. It's located at our Dunn-Loring administrative site and provides ongoing support to families, hosting weekly virtual webinars on key parenting topics such as digital wellness, mental health, and screen time, and perhaps less screen time. The Parent Resource Center also provides parent resource packs on an ongoing basis, which are prepackaged tote bags with books and resources for adults and children. So we really encourage families to visit the Resource Center, as it's really a strong support for student success. Our facilities, this I think is another exciting data point. As you know, that We welcomed students back into over 220 schools, centers, and offices this fall, representing over 27 million square feet of heated and cooled buildings, which I think staff had a bit of fun. It is larger than 4 Pentagons. Families and facility staff actually received over 123,000 work orders in fiscal year 22, averaging 550 work orders per building per year. So we're also in the process of completing 47 HVAC replacement projects using ESSER dollars, and I'm proud to share that Fairfax County Public Schools has been named an Energy Star Partner of the Year for a 6th year in a row since 2017, which is quite impressive. The Sustained Excellence Partner since 2019, and we currently have 185 Energy Star schools. We have accrued over $9 million in energy savings in fiscal year 2022, a program that now totals more than $64 million in cumulative energy savings. And I think we've actually, referred to this as cost avoidance because I was looking for the money. But it's more that we didn't actually spend it, so I want to clarify that. In July of 2021, the school board unanimously adopted the Joint Environmental Task Force goals, committing our division to achieve zero waste by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2040. I think rather bold goals, which are going to require all of us to work together. Transportation. We have a number of buses that transport 129,800 eligible students annually, and we actually have had over 43 million student bus rides per year, which is a pretty incredible data point. This represents a significantly larger increase year over year, but that's because in prior years we counted the AM and PM trips as just one trip, and we realized that there are 2 trips. So our buses travel 101,900 daily miles, which is actually mind-boggling, I think, when you think about that, which equates to 18.3 million miles annually. So our Here Comes the Bus app tool is something that's supported for parents. It's had a few bugs this fall, but I know we're working through those, and it's really become an essential tool for our families. The safety and security of our students and staff continues to be a top priority. Annual tabletop exercises at all of our schools are held, and additional safety and security efforts this year will focus on the security vestibules and classroom lock projects, as well as continuing lead testing in our water. We appreciate the continued partnership with the Fairfax County Police Department and remind everyone that safety is all of our responsibilities. Please report anything suspicious to the Office of Safety and Security and the police, and dial 911 if you believe there is immediate danger. I would also at this point encourage the other safety topic that came up last evening, for example, at Edison High School, and it's come up in other pyramids, is just how we as adults drive around our schools. Often we're late or we're in a rush as adult drivers, and it's just really important for us, I think, to be mindful that we have young people often scurrying, and as our days get shorter and darker on either end, just encourage the adults to, be mindful of our driving. Food and nutrition continues to be an incredibly large operation. During this past year, we served 27.9 million meals and snacks, and in addition, 800,000 suppers, snacks, and summer meals were provided to students and families. No-cost supper meals continue for after-school programs at eligible sites, and we're planning to increase our farm-to-school offerings by participating in a new state pilot program. To ease the transition back to school, Food and Nutrition Services staff replaced self-serve fruit and vegetable bars at middle and high schools and elementary school salad bars with portion servings of fruit and vegetables. This self-serve component of the fruit and vegetable bars will be implemented later in the school year, and elementary school salad bars will be added back as soon as possible. So lots of green happening in food and nutrition as well. Under student success, we continue to work to prepare all students for success in life. I want to share some data points from this past year. So I think it's key that 195 of our schools operate under traditional or alternative accreditation plans. Of these, 193 are expected to be fully accredited, with only 2 remaining that may be accredited with conditions, which is a pretty phenomenal data point, I think. These final results will be released from the Virginia Department of Education on September 22nd. New growth assessments were introduced in the fall of 2021 to help measure learning gaps as students return from virtual learning to in-person learning. These fall assessments were also used to help measure success in supporting student progress during the prior school academic year. In the spring of 2022, growth and other calculation adjustments produced a 24-point bump in the SOA reading rates and a 22-point bump in SOA math rates compared to the unadjusted annual pass rates, which were reported in August. Although growth measures were not the only factor contributing to these outcomes, they were an important component and are likely to continue to impact school accreditation ratings. We continue to reinforce our commitments to applying the multi-tiered systems of support to meet each student's unique needs. And in the coming year, grades 3 through 8 will be required to take 2 growth assessments in the fall and in the winter, followed with the spring SOL tests, paving the way to truly measure through-year growth for each student. We did have expanded summer learning this year. This summer, all of our elementary and middle schools hosted summer learning programs in addition to our regional high school sites. We served over 30,000 students, and it continues to far exceed our pre-pandemic participation in summer school, with a 66% increase from pre-pandemic participation rates. I want to also take a moment and thank all those staff that participated this summer. We had many, many staff step up. Again, our educators going above and beyond. We had elementary and middle school programs, including literacy and math interventions, Bridge to Kindergarten, Young Scholars programs, and our extended school year programs, while high school programs focused on credit recovery or earning new credits. A lot of activity this past summer. We had summer enrichment camps, including a mixture of several familiar programs. Again, we appreciate board support with this as we increased 30% of all enrollments across camps. Just a lot, I think, going on this summer. In terms of updated curriculum and digital resources, each summer there are teams of central office staff and teachers that work to revise and develop high-quality resources. We've integrated or increased the integration of Portrait of a Graduate skills throughout curriculum to ensure students have the potential to develop the skills the division has highlighted in the Portrait of a Graduate. We're also working on the development of required evidence-based literacy practices in our elementary schools as part of our Equitable Access to Literacy Plan. And several new basal resources in elementary language arts and elementary middle school science have been introduced to provide more personalized student-centered learning. So this school year, the Office of Special Education Instruction is using IDEA, American Rescue Plan grant funding from the U.S. Department of Education to fund a curriculum development team. This team's adapting curriculum resources to support instruction in the Virginia Essentialized Standards of Learning for students participating in the Virginia Alternative Assessment Program. So this team is going to be critical to the success of a number of our students. Approximately 2,400 students in our division receive assistive technology as part of their IEP or 504 plan. This allows access to the general education curriculum and the settings, which provides opportunities for active participation among our students with same age peers and facilitates progress towards their educational goals. The Office of Special Education has developed training for staff and students and their families in augmentative and alternative communication devices, strategies, and tools. So technology. We continue to focus on sparking innovation, and I know technology had one of their first in-person orientations this summer. Based on the support of our school board and community and grant funding, we have purchased 42,000 new devices for our youngest learners. allowing our technology department to deliver on a promise to have a new device in the hands of every Fairfax County public school student. Additionally, 500 of our high school teachers are planning to pilot a MacBook Air for their daily device, and the expectation is that staff engage deeply with their technology of choice and feel supported while working in their classroom. Cybersecurity continues to be a challenge for all school divisions across the country, and our team is constantly focused on delivering technology experiences with strong layers of cyber protection. In the first week of school, the large majority of students had a device assigned to them, and students with internet access were issued a MiFi hotspot. I think that's without internet access. Were issued a hotspot. With a large influx of technology, our support teams have seen spikes in call volumes from school staff. As we use technology more, I think there's been more of a call for help at times. Definitely high fives all around for our school-based technology teams for processing these support requests at a record rate. We're expanding the tools our leaders have to make strategic data-informed decisions by creating new real-time dashboards. And you all, I think, saw the link that we're using for enrollment and staffing monitoring. So great thanks to our departments for working together. Around our caring culture, our community, as you know, has had very different needs as we recover from this pandemic, and we continue to be responsive to these needs. Educate Fairfax is our foundation, which changed its name and branding in 2021 to Educate Fairfax. In the last fiscal year, Educate Fairfax received over $1.5 million in contributions and grants and provided $1.3 million directly to schools and programs across the county. The teacher grant program continued to expand with 73 projects funded for $96,000, and current year grants will be awarded in November for work-based learning grants. In the spring of 2022, Educate Fairfax launched a new event, the Fairfax County Public School Hall of Fame for Distinguished Alumni, and this will continue to be an ongoing celebration each spring. Nominations are currently being accepted through their website, so I would encourage all those listening to consider nominating someone. Educate Fairfax raises funds from businesses to support the FCPS Honors Program, and this year provided $56,000 toward that event. Finally, as we are returning to in-person learning, we're also going to return to an in-person event this fall. Leaders and Learners, Education is Everybody's Business is on November 9th, and it's the largest fundraiser for Educate Fairfax, with proceeds going toward the teacher grant program. So we're truly grateful for the partnership of Educate Fairfax and our business and community partners, and are thankful for all they do to support our work. So as we think about student mental health and wellness, this is a critical issue facing public education, and we continue to prioritize professional development that builds the staff capacity to support and respond to students and one another who exhibit or verbalize mental health concerns. This has been a particularly difficult time, I think, as we return from the pandemic, both for students, staff, and families. So I just would encourage us to keep our focus on this topic. In moving on, I want to talk about our crisis intervention being an essential mental health support that allows students and adults the opportunity to process difficult experiences, regain emotional stability, and self-regulate. Telemental health services have been something that have been a request based on access for local mental health services, but we actually are zeroing in on a telemental health group that will include short-term evidence-based counseling sessions by qualified mental health therapists and will align with our school-based mental health intervention tiered systems. You'll be hearing more information about this in the coming weeks. So, social and emotional learning is an integral part of education and human development. It is the process by which young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, manage emotions, and achieve personal and collective goals. During this coming year, the 22-23 school year, we're going to continue to utilize morning meeting time and advisory meetings to support students' social emotional skills for success in school and in the community. In terms of student activities, there are a variety of those through our Virginia High School League or activities. We're going to have our first official e-sport league this year, which is actually quite competitive around the country, so I'm excited that's something we're beginning here. This year's student participation rates in VHSL activities are on track to return to our pre-COVID participation rates, and I'm proud to share that Fairfax Public School teams and individuals earned over 60 state championship titles during the 21-22 school year. In thinking about our premier workforce, we continue to think critically about hiring and retention strategies for staff in all roles. As of September 7th, we had hired 1,758 new teachers. Last year, we hired 1,889 new teachers. The recruitment and retention of staff will remain a priority, and we'll continue to provide the board with data supporting all of the work we're doing around this work. Professional development and training, we were thrilled that our Great Beginnings Summer Institute and Equity Symposium returned to in-person events this year. The Great Beginnings welcome new teachers from a variety of pathways, career switchers, and grow your own teacher resident programs, while our Equity Symposium was held at John Lewis High School. We started our morning at the Equity Symposium and community by listening to the experiences of our staff, parents, and students, and participants had opportunities to debrief, reflect, and share their own stories as they engaged throughout the rest of the day with one another. In terms of professional development and training, we know that ensuring our staff are confident and prepared to receive students on day one is critical to the success of our students. Therefore, our return to school professional development and training was carefully curated to ensure student well-being and safety were front and center in terms of our work. There also were a number of staff HR created prioritized professional development modules that have been continuing to be due throughout the summer and fall. And there was an additional PD day approved by the school board. So some examples of this PD were social emotional work, understanding guidelines on restraint and seclusion, the new trust policy, equitable literacy practices, and working with our students with disabilities and English learners. So under our resource stewardship, I would like to end our review with our resources and remind our board that our Business and Finance Office recently, for the 27th straight year, received the Government Finance Officer Association's Award of Excellence for their budget and fiscal stewardship, so we're very excited about this. Our budget remains focused on student achievement. 4% compensation increase was provided for all employees this year, and a step increase was given to eligible employees. Bonuses of $1,000 for all full-time employees, both FTEs and hourly contracted, as well as $500 for identified non-contracted hourly workers will continue to be provided. In thinking about the fiscal year 2023 budget, we're looking at improving outcomes for all students. The budget again, provided one additional day for professional development and more time for planning at the elementary school level. And we heard about that today as well, meeting with elementary school administrative staff, how important that planning time for educators is to the success of our students. Positions were also added to support English for speakers of other languages, special education, lead teachers at elementary schools, mentor coaches for special education novice teachers, as well as translators and interpreters to increase access and opportunity for our diverse student population. Funds were also included to support carbon neutrality, electric buses, safe routes to schools, and the Get to Green program as recommended by the Joint Environmental Task Force. Capital improvement continues to work. In any given year, the bond program includes about 8 to 10 projects in planning and design, and approximately a dozen projects in active construction. At present, construction is underway on nearly 1.6 million square feet of renovations of 7 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school, as well as 1 capacity enhancement addition project at a high school. In the past year, approximately 300,000 square feet were completed on phases of current construction projects, including elementary, middle, high school renovations, as well as a high school capacity enhancement addition project. Design is currently underway for 1.7 million square feet of schools, schedule for renovations and additions needed at 7 elementary schools, 1 high school, and 1 site proposed to be repurposed to a new elementary school. So the remainder of this, I think, we're going to take a look at several of our schools. So there's Braddock Elementary School, which is underway this year, and Fox Mill underway this year again. Another elementary school underway this year, and Louise Archer Elementary School underway this year, and another elementary school, Oak Hill. I think we can go through these. Yeah, we have multiple schools. This is just a significant amount of work. And I really want to thank our capital project team and facilities team for all the work that they've continued to work on. If we can keep, there we go. Yeah, middle schools, several middle schools, and then of course Falls Church and West Potomac. I had an opportunity recently to walk through West Potomac, and it's really beautiful. I think the opportunities our students and staff and our families as they visit these renovated schools, I think they can attest to how amazing they look. So as I close out tonight's presentation, again, I want to thank our Fairfax County Public School community, our students, families, staff, board, and partners for the continued support. And at this point, I look forward to answering any questions the board may have. And if we don't have the answers tonight, we can certainly follow up in the coming days with any answers. So that is the report our staff have prepared. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.